Hi everyone, my name is Billy and you're listening to Humans of Authenticity, the CEO Special Edition. Our guest today is Tia Perry, Executive Director at AEC Unites. And I'm so excited to introduce her to you in this episode. I met Tia for the first time when I joined the Delp program,
Mhm.
and if we have time, we'll unpack that a lot more in the conversation. Welcome to Humans of Authenticity, Tia.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me and giving me this opportunity to share my story.
I can't wait to have this conversation with you today. Would you like to introduce yourself to our listener first?
Yes. So my name is Tia Perry. I am the executive director of AEC Unites. It is a newly formed organization founded by some of the top architecture, engineering, and construction CEOs. So that's the A, the E, and the C, architecture, engineering, construction. And so my organization just recently launched last October, but for several years after the George Floyd murder, several AEC CEOs started having conversations about the need to advance diversity, particularly in those industries, and how to leverage their influence and their networks to drive positive change. And so I started as the new executive director, or the first executive director, I should say, and really proud to lead the charge in the work that we do for a better future.
It sounds like a very unique organizations. Can you tell us a little bit more of the nature of the work and the missions?
Yes, so our mission is to provide intentional opportunities for Black talent and Black-owned businesses in architecture, engineering, and construction. And so our two main pillars, the first is talent, and that's really to diversify the talent pipeline, simply because of the lack of representation. So we look at architecture, engineering, and construction. There aren't a ton of Black and brown people. And so my association wants to change that by supporting historical Black colleges, universities, support the students that are in the pipeline that are in these majors, and also to work with other nonprofits and other organizations so that there's a crystal clear path about the resources that are available in this space. I think I learned very early on that there are a ton of STEM programs, right? There's a ton of science, technology, engineering, and math. But unless you spend a ton of time on Google, it's really hard to figure out what's in your area, what's a good fit. And so our organization wants to really unify or unite the programs that are out there to pave or provide a pathway for anyone interested in a career in this space. And then the other side is focusing on empowering Black-owned businesses in architecture, engineering, and construction, helping them scale. And we do this by providing equitable resources to help them scale and grow their business, and ultimately to win work and compete on a level playing field. So the talent side is a lot around workforce development, and then the business side is around really empowering Black-owned businesses in this space.
I understand that this is your first executive director positions. Was it what you thought it would have been?
Yes and no. It is exactly what I thought it would be in the sense that I knew this mission aligned perfectly with my background, right? And so I feel really blessed in the sense that it doesn't feel like work because I literally feel like I'm giving back, if that makes sense. Not in a corny way, but I really feel align personally, and I'm blessed to be able to align my personal beliefs with my professional beliefs because oftentimes that you don't have that alignment in a professional career. So I do feel blessed in that sense. I think with any new association, it's a lift, right? We started something from scratch. And so that comes with long hours and lots of headaches and worrying. And so that part I probably didn't prepare myself for. I mean, I absolutely love the challenge, but that is probably the biggest part I didn't anticipate is just how heavy of a lift it would be.
Thank you. You mentioned something very interesting. That's the alignment between your personal belief and your professional path. Can you elaborate that for me? So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
start with your personal belief.
Yes. So, for the last almost 10 years, I've been in this diversity, equity, and inclusion space, particularly in construction. And I really fell in love with the workforce development piece of it. And what I mean by that is really introducing careers and construction to young adults, right? And I think there's an innocent ignorance about the opportunities that are available in that industry. And there's a lot of misconceptions around it's a dirty industry and it's dangerous. And so I had my own ignorances about construction. Once I started working for the Associated Builders and Contractors, ABC, my previous association, I realized the amazing opportunities in this space. And I still feel like it's my responsibility to introduce the folks coming behind me, the teenagers, the college students, the young adults, the kindergartners, to opportunities in this space and just make sure that they're aware that there are plenty of opportunities out there. Not all of them require a college degree because the reality is, although I'm pro college, college isn't for everyone. So there's a ton of awareness, I would say. And I think that has been a passion of mine, professionally and personal, just that workforce development piece of it. And then the other side of really supporting Black owned, minority owned, diverse owned businesses. I know the challenges and the disparities that they face in the marketplace, and I hear personal stories, but being able to leverage like my resources and my network to help them win work is really rewarding. So I'm really blessed in the sense that there's perfect alignment with the work that I do professionally and my personal beliefs as a person.
So imagine if you stand in front of the next generations, a very young ground, what would you tell them about the opportunity in this sector?
I would say the sky is the limit. And this is in particular or specific to architecture, engineering, or construction, right? I think in general, if you're willing to put in the work, right, and to hustle and you have that ambition, the sky is the limit. There are so many opportunities available in this space. You can earn a great living and not have any college debt if you're interested in going that route. But there are tons of careers, even in accounting and finance and marketing and proposals and graphic design. There are tons of careers in this space. And so I would encourage any young adults or anyone interested in a career path, right? It could be someone, a returning citizen who just did a 5-year stint in federal prison, but just to look at the industry and the opportunities that are available, because there's a huge worker shortage and there are just some great opportunities to earn an amazing living for your family.
What I'm also hearing is not only we need to look out for what's available, but we also need to be open-minded about the
Hmm.
opportunities and give them considerate thoughts as we're tossing these options. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now, go back to your first ED positions. As you settle in these positions, what surprised you the most?
What surprised me the most? I am surprised, and I mean this in the most authentic way, but I am surprised at the genuine commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what I mean by that is this space is a bit challenging, especially now with the dismantling of DEI and the attack. And so I am amazed at the leadership and their commitment that's unwavering. Um, and I'm also amazed at, as a new ED, I think I had some imposter syndrome going on very early on, and like, oh my God, I'm this young Black female leading this organization. And so I think I'm amazed at my confidence, right? And my story that I'm in the room with the top CEOs in the nation. So I'm amazed at my leadership. I amaze myself every day, but I'm also amazed at just the genuine commitment to DEI from folks that don't look like us. And that always amazes me that when you have a true champion that isn't from an underrepresented group, but they're authentic and they're an ally. And so I'm amazed by that every day in the work that I do at AEC Unites.
It is so cool. It's giving me goosebumps. Like, I
But
do
no,
want to.
like seriously though, I am folks that don't look like me, right? That come from very privileged backgrounds, but understand and recognize the value of a diverse workforce and diverse businesses and the innovation piece of it. I'm amazed that their commitment. I really am sometimes.
Hmm. So this might be not appropriate, but you know, this
Throw
is
it at me, give it
a
to
few
me.
days, a few days right after the election. So in the last 2 days, as I'm grieving the result, I start having this doubt as I look at the statistic of those who voted. I have this doubt that whether they are ready for a person of color, whether they are ready for a woman of color in leadership positions. So what you just shared give me that reassurance that probably the industry will be different. The thinking of the people in the room with me will be different. You mentioned something that's powerful, that is the true champions. Do you have any tips on how did you develop this group of true champions in your case?
So I can't take the credit for that. So the founder of AEC Unites is a powerful powerhouse by the name of Daryl McKissick. And Daryl started this organization, and on record, her family is the oldest Black architectural construction firm in the nation, started several generations ago by her great grandfather. She was very strategic about selecting the leadership of this organization and who she knew personally would commit to the mission. And so I can't take credit. I think she formed this group. For me, it's just engagement and impact and just ensuring that they all recognize the importance of the work that we do. And although we're new a year in, the impact that we've had and that we can have to transform the industry. So I can't take credit. I think it's just about impact, really, and me just telling the stories. That would be my response to that. Be like, I don't think I could take credit for the group. She did a phenomenal job of picking her leadership.
I like to just pause and point out
Yeah.
that you should also have some credit in that because you're already in the positions for over a year by now, and you've been working with these people, and obviously you've done something that earned their respect so that
That's
they
true.
become that champions for you.
That's true. That's a good point. I don't give myself enough credit sometimes, I guess. I think it's just for me like commitment, right? And if
Mm.
I say I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I think for the board, they know that Tia is committed and reliable, and I'm gonna make it happen. And I think there has to be that level of trust that took some time for them to really realize like who I am and my capabilities and just to trust me. But I do feel like I've proven that I'm the right person for this role because not only the alignment with my personal beliefs, but also my work ethic and my hustle that I'm gonna make it happen to the very best of my ability.
That's really cool. Thank you. Before we move to the keyword conversations, I also love to introduce to our audience who are you behind the position title.
Okay, this is interesting. So I don't know how I find the time to do all of this, but I am also a crazy loudmouth football mom. My son plays varsity football. He is a Division I prospect to some great universities. He's a linebacker and a running back. And so I'm the team mom for the varsity football team at my local high school. So I volunteer there as well. And I'm also my daughter's basketball coach. And
Whoa.
so my kids keep me really busy. They're really athletic in sports and also like extracurricular activities. I'm a youth leader at my church. So I'm a mom of a teenager and a tween. And then I'm married to my high school sweetheart. So that's a little bit about me personally.
How do you find time to juggle
I
and
don't know. Sometimes I'm like, I need to learn how to say no. How do I learn to juggle it? I like staying busy. And I also came to realization my oldest is 16, that I only have him here for another year and he's off to college. So I realized like I want to spend as much time with him as I can before he's out the house. And then my daughter's out the house and we're empty nesters. So I probably overcommit sometimes. And I'm like, man, why did I say I'm going to do that? I need to rest. But I really do enjoy just like giving back and volunteering and spending time with my children. And so I seem to always find the time somehow. I'm not sure how, but I do.
so how do you look after yourself after your role and your
Good
kid?
question. So I prioritize working out. I start my day, I would say 5 days out the week with body pump, strength conditioning workout. And then I also force myself to go for walks during the day because I mostly work from home. I'm in the office maybe once or twice a month. And that's just a check in with the founder of AEC Unites. And so I just force myself to move. I need to prioritize more self care and massages and vacations and that kind of stuff. But for me, it's just the mental health part of just getting that workout in. It's important just to take a break from the day. Sitting all day in my home office can get boring and tiresome, and it's important to move your body. And so I definitely prioritize that throughout the day just to get out and move, get some fresh air. The weather's been beautiful this week, and so that's what keeps me sane, really.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. Let's move to the keyword conversations. Would you like to share with us what keyword you pick?
Yeah, so my keyword is ambition. And the reason why I chose ambition is oftentimes folks have a great vision and great aspirations over their life. But without the ambition and the hustle to make it happen, oftentimes their dreams do not become reality. And so I credit myself that, like, I am a hustler. I always have been. My parents say I am, my sibling, like, I'm just gonna make it happen. And so just having that ambition, that hustle, that mindset to get it done by any means necessary is what resonated with me. And so, yeah, I think ambition is important to us professionally and personally. You've got to take that initiative and have that hustle to grind and make it happen.
Thank you for explaining the context around your selections. Just an outside note for our listeners, I have ambitions as a keyword on my list since I first started Humans of Authenticity. So it's been over a year and finally Tia picked
Um,
it. That's why I'm so looking forward to these conversations. Now, are you saying that ambition is the motivations for people to realize?
Yeah, I think it's combining courage and ambition to really execute on their goals, right? a l- I see this a lot. Like, a lot of folks have great dreams of doing this and starting this, and without the ambition and the execution, it just doesn't happen. So I think that hustle is important, right? And a safe hustle, a healthy hustle, I'll say that, right? Because I know you can hustle so much and get tired mentally and physically, but I think ambition for me is like, wow, that's where it all begins.
Okay, so I do want to go personal here with you.
Sure.
In your current phase, what's your dream?
My dream. So, professionally, my dream is to transform the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. And when it's my time to exit or to leave, whenever that is, to leave it better than I found it and actually make my mark. And I think the talent piece of this and really paving the way for folks that are coming behind me or encouraging, supporting folks that are currently in the industry that need that support, whether it's professionally or personally. But my dream is to really transform the industry, right? And also empower Black owned businesses so they can lead with innovation and technology, right? And that's my goal, is to really empower Black businesses to level the playing field so that everyone has access to opportunities. Everyone has access, everyone has a seat at the table. And I know it seems like some really big dreams, but I do feel like when it's time for me to exit and retire in, I don't know, 30 years or so, or 20 years, whatever that looks like, I will be leaving the industry a better place.
When you say that you want to live it better, what's your vision for the better?
I would say there is a diverse makeup of the industries, right? Where we're no longer the minority, and the boardrooms and the workrooms and the war rooms are reflective of all communities. And so I would love to see diversity at every level of leadership in the industry. That would be like my goal as a diversity leader in this space, is that's reflective in every level of leadership.
Okay.
So there is a huge labor shortage, and construction has been faced with a labor shortage for decades. It's nothing that's new. To look at the current numbers, but the makeup of women has grown a little bit. There's been some increase in women representation. But when we look at Black and Brown communities, particularly Asian communities and African American communities, I think the makeup is 6.7% of the industry, Don't quote me on that. I'll fact check that. I think that's the last number I saw from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And so there is definitely a need to diversify, and diversity is the key, right?
Mm.
If we ensure that communities that were excluded previously or historically, that they're included in these opportunities, I think that's the key or the answer to the labor shortage.
So what's stopping that better visions to happen right now? So let's focus on the top reasons.
Yeah, I think there are a lack of access to opportunities. I think there are a lot of misconceptions and really just the awareness about the opportunities. Misconceptions in the sense that it could be a dirty industry, right? Construction in particular. But there's so many amazing opportunities in the A, the E, and the C. And so I think it's just education. And I think that starts with parents, right? And so I know for me, like my parents never ever advocated for a career in engineering or architecture or construction. My parents were like, are you interested in being an attorney, a doctor, a lawyer, a marine biologist, right? There was this innocent ignorance about my parents just didn't know about the opportunities in that space. And so I feel like a lot of it starts with home and just awareness about the opportunities that are available, also with guidance counselors and ensuring that they're advocating for careers in this space. So I think it's a twofold. I think there's a lot to consider and unpackage like in this conversation, but I think it just starts with just awareness and
Mm.
opportunities.
Thank you. I mean, I know it is a very complex situation, and I'm trying to simplify it here.
It is. It is.
So what we have been talking about so far is the better visions and the current obstacles for us to get to the visions. So the next question I'd love to hear your thoughts is how do you use your ambitions to bring you from the current situations to where you like it to be?
I think my ambition to proactively foster relationships with people are going to help us achieve our goals. And what I mean by that is the name AEC Unites is really around uniting the resources that already exist in the industry and building a pathway. And so I think having the ambition to build new relationships with different colleagues and different professionals and different organizations. So I think it's ambition leads to relationship building that leads to impact. That makes sense, right? And leveraging what's already out there to provide a better future. Does that make sense?
Do you have an example or scenario that you can share with us?
Yeah, let me think. Let me think. Yes, I'll give some examples without calling some names. So, I've been in this construction space the last 10 years, and I've built some really genuine relationships with leaders on our board and our committee leaders, and also our technology partners that are pretty big in this space. And I genuinely have a great deal of respect for the chair of my business committee. His name is Brad Lewis. He's the corporate director of supplier diversity at Hensel Phelps. And Brad and I work together at ABC, my previous association, and also AEC Unites. And I have a great deal of respect for him that he's a change agent in the sense that he's willing to leverage his resources as one of the biggest general contractors in the country to really foster change in the industry by diversifying the pipeline of suppliers and talent. So I think that relationship building has been successful for me, that I have longstanding relationships from committee members from a decade ago that I personally talked to that are still in the industry that have helped me in my new role now. And so I think it's just that relationship building and fostering relationships that are important professionally and personally. Those are my people. Those are my allies. And those are the folks that I call on when I'm having a bad day and I need to talk to someone about AEC Unites.
Okay. What I'm hearing is, as part of these ambitions to realize your better visions, you need to reach out to some pretty high profile contacts. Do you ever feel the awkward dynamics between you and these
I
persons?
don't.
Okay.
I think I realize they're normal people, right? And I had that imposter intimidation when I first started, I would say 5, 6 years ago in this industry. And no, what I realized is they are normal people, right? Like, regardless of their title or their background, it doesn't matter. Like, they're all normal people. And I think you realize how smart you are when you have these conversations and you're able to contribute on their level. And you're like, man, they're just normal people.
Mm.
So I don't get flustered or intimidated by someone of a higher title or rank than me, because at the end of the day, we all bleed red. And it took me a while to come to that realization, but they're all just normal people. And I can speak in a board meeting and eloquently address my point just like they can. And so to answer that, they're all just normal people,
Thank
regardless
you.
of titles. It doesn't even matter.
I love that. Can you share with us that defining moments when you realize that you don't need to feel intimidated while being around these people?
It took a long time for me, honestly. I think, just to get personal for a second, I'm the first generation college student. I worked in industries and at associations where I was the only person of color. No one really looked like me. And over the years, I really questioned my confidence and, can I do this? Can I contribute? Do I communicate well enough? It took a while for me to find my voice. And I think the DELT program helped me find my voice, and the sense that there were people that looked like me in leadership roles that were willing to help me, pour into me with nothing in return. But I would say about 5 years ago, I realized, hey, if you're going to be in this space, you need to show up, right, with confidence and get your point across. And even if your voice quivers, because mine still does sometimes, like, get it out. It took a while for me to get there. It's something that I still struggle with, but I've just realized that, hey, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I say that in my mind. That's a verse, Philippians 4:13, that I say quite a bit throughout my day, that I can do all things. So, yes, it took some time for me to find my voice confidently, but now that I have it, it's kind of hard to shut me up.
If we want to build up our confidence and training the confidence muscle, what is the one thing that we must do?
So I would say get comfortable and being uncomfortable. I did Toastmasters for several years. I volunteered at church to lead different initiatives that would get me in front of, like, our congregation's pretty big at church, a couple hundred people. And so those moments of discomfort actually really poised me for the leader that I am today, because now sometimes I'm like, whew, like, I don't know how I get through it. I somehow get through it, but it just takes experience. Just keep at it. Again, like, even if your voice is shaky or if you don't feel super confident. So seize the moment and just keep at it. And before you know it, you'll be a natural.
Awesome. Now, before we move to the next segment of the conversations, is there anything else or other story you'd like to share about ambition?
It's just about hustle, right? A healthy hustle. And I think, just to wrap it up, is everyone has different goals and aspirations. Not everyone is a hustler, and that's okay. I mean, the reality is some people are okay with where they are. Like, for me, I just want to be the very best version of Tia, professionally and personally. I want to be the best, and I'm not perfect by any means, but, like, I do work on myself daily to be my very best self. So that's the only thing I would add.
Thank you. I appreciate that. One more thing on your executive director positions. What's your mantra as a top leader of an organization, and how do you show up with that mantra?
My mantra would be to dream boldly and execute relentlessly. And I think we talked about that a little bit earlier, like dreaming boldly in the sense that, like, I want to transform the industry and leave it better for the people coming behind me. And then, although there's going to be some hurdles and some difficult challenges, the importance of executing relentlessly and just keep hustling and just keep that inner fire is important. So I think that will be my mantra, is to just dream boldly and execute relentlessly.
Do you ever feel that with ambitions, we set out goals that are so bold and so visionary that it can become overwhelming?
It can be overwhelming. I'm learning that in my role, that, look at our strategic plan as an association, our 3-year plan B, and it's like, wow. some really big goals. And as a leader of this organization, it's my job to execute and achieve said goals. I just focus on the small wins, and those small wins become medium-sized wins and then bigger wins, and that evolution seems to happen. And so the small wins lead to bigger wins. So I guess my advice would be focus on the low-hanging fruit, right? There's a big rock that you have, but there's got to be something that you can achieve fairly quickly to get that momentum and then move forward a little bit more, a little bit more. So small wins, keep pushing forward. You'll get there eventually.
Thank you for that. And this is a nice segue to move into the legacy conversations. What legacy do you envision sculpting for AEC Unites?
The legacy of transformation, really transforming the industry and really showing value that Black-owned businesses bring and innovation and technology. So I would say just transforming the industry and leaving it a better place. The diversity of the industry will be great too, to see, more Black and brown, more women in this space. But I think for me, it's really just transforming the way it looks like and making it better for generations to come.
It's a really cool legacy, especially when we're talking about making space and paving the way for the next generations. What infrastructure have you put in place to help realizing your legacy?
Okay, so we have some great partnerships with historical Black colleges and universities, and I think about Florida A&M and, a focus group that we had earlier this year with students that are in the pipeline that are either in architecture, construction management, or engineering. And so I think about those relationships. And then just in a week or two, we'll be at Prairie View University. They're outside of Houston. And so Prairie View has produced a large number of Black architects.
Well,
And so we're meeting with the students there at the university. And so I think nurturing those relationships is going to help us diversify the industry, right? And it's important that the students know that they have a support system in place through AEC Unites and through our resources and our leadership, and we're there to support them and empower them. And then also the work that my business committee is doing. I mentioned Brad Lewis a few minutes ago, and his steadfast commitment to supplier diversity and really ensuring that minority small businesses get a piece of this American pie, right? And particularly the infrastructure investment law, just ensuring that minority businesses can bid on these projects, that they can scale and they can bid and they have these opportunities. So I think there's a lot happening because we are so fairly new, right? It's hard sometimes to measure the impact, but there's been lots of small wins. So I'm excited about that.
talking about wins in your time with AEC Unite so far, what is the number one proudest achievement that you have accomplished?
Can I share two?
Yeah.
Okay. So just last month, AEC Unites hosted a Black Business Mixer, and we hand selected six of our Black-owned businesses to really pitch their companies, right? And so they were given a platform. We invited our leadership and really the who's who's of the industry that has opportunities, right? And so there's lots of infrastructure opportunities in the pipeline. And so we invited these folks to a mixer, and we gave our member companies the opportunity to pitch their businesses. And I was really proud at the connections that were made, right? And, a couple of our member companies walked out and was like, hey, like I have a meeting next week with this huge general contractor or this huge design build firm. So I was really proud that we were able to facilitate those curated connections for our member companies and introduce them to new opportunities. That was a recent win. And then another win I would say is our visit back in April to Florida A&M, where I actually got to meet with the students and share our vision and how we're here to support them. And they were so excited to give me their resumes, and a couple of them have followed up with me about opportunities. And so we're building a talent resource page now with the internships that are available for 2025. So I would say those relationships with the students, and then also the curated connections that we facilitated at the Black Business Mixer have been small wins, but really, really impactful. And the fuel that I need to keep going to say, like, hey, you're doing the right thing. It's great work. It's hard. It's heavy, but it's needed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel talking about your achievement?
I always want more, right? So I do struggle with the fact that, in my previous associations, right, I've had a ton of resources and support. And so AEC Unites looks very different in the sense that we're volunteer led. And it's just me and some consultants and an assistant that helps on the day-to-day stuff. But I would say it feels good. It feels good. I just want more. And I have to realize that it's going to take time to grow and to scale this business. And I don't have the same suite of resources that I'm used to. And so I have to get unique with leveraging relationships and consulting and that kind of thing. So it's different in that sense, but it feels good. It does feel good. I just got to remind myself that this is a marathon and not a sprint. And these things take time and it's going to happen. It's just got to keep pushing forward.
Congratulations on your achievements.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we're getting to the last question of this episode, and I hope that you enjoy this one.
Yes, I've enjoyed the
Imagine,
conversation. This has been great.
thank you. Imagine if AEC Unites were a fictional character, who would it be and why?
Ooh, that's a good one. So AEC Unites will be T'Challa from Black Panther. T'Challa was the king of Wakanda. And I think about community and how he rallied his people and his leadership. And then I think this goes beyond just the fictional character. But T'Challa was played by Chadwick Boseman, who is no longer with us. He passed away, I think, from colon cancer. But as he was filming this strong superhero in his role, he was battling cancer and he later passed. So I think that the King of Wakanda, T'Challa, would be like my superhero that I would have to relate the work of AEC Unites and just the transformation, the leadership, definitely to that superhero.
This is really cool. T'Challa is one of my favorite characters.
Really?
And
Yeah.
I mean, whenever I think about him, I immediately think about all of the innovations, the very cool technology. And I like how you mentioned the community sense around that as
Yeah.
well. And what I feel is not only he has a very loyal followers, but
Yeah.
their values absolutely align with whatever vision he has in mind.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
that's how they were able to push on after his passing. So thank you so much for closing the conversations with that. This is the end of the conversation. So thank you again for your time and sharing your story with us.
My name is Tia Perry, and you are listening to Humans of Authenticity, the CEO Special Edition. Thank you, V. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This has been great.